Hello everyone, welcome back to PN and L channel where we create content with practical IT solutions. If our videos are helpful to you, kindly subscribe to this channel, click the thumbs up button and let us know in the comment section what you would like to see. So in this video, we're going to continue our implementation of Openstack high availability using certificates. So the next service that we're going to install and configure is called Cinder. So Cinder is a service that allows you to connect to your backend storage, whether it be it NFS, be it network attached storage, or ceph. So in this video, we're going to be implementing Cinder that is going to be connecting to your storage backend, ceph storage backend, which is going to be using the ceph Rados block device RBD. As you can see here, ceph is a massively scalable open source distributed storage system. It is comprised of an object store, block store, and a POSIX compliant distributed file system. So in this demonstration, we're going to be using RBD, which is going to be the block storage, where we're going to be storing the virtual disk for the instances that we're going to be implementing in this environment. So the here, as we have demonstrated in a large extent in the previous videos deploying ceph storage, please check out our PNL PN and L channel for how to deploy the ceph storage backend. So here, RBD, which is the Rados block device, it uses a block device. The Linux kernel RBD driver allows striping a Linux block device over multiple distributed object store data objects. It is compatible with KVM RBD image. So this is the technology we're going to be implementing, the Linux kernel RBD. So in this environment, we have three ceph storage servers, which allows us to stripe the the data store across multiple servers for redundancy. And we're going to be creating an RBD pool in the Cinder configuration file. So without going into too much details, you can also read through this on the Openstack docs.openstack.org website to get more information about the ceph RBD. So next, we're going to continue with our installation and configuration of ceph's Cinder being integrating Cinder with ceph backend storage in this video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the ceph packages on all the controller nodes. So in this video we're working on the controller nodes. So in the subsequent videos we're going to be installing and configuring the same ceph on the compute nodes. So we're going to install Cinder. Okay, this is almost done. Node 1 is complete, node 2 is complete, node 3 is complete. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to copy the keyring from the ceph. So we're going to copy this to all the controller nodes. One, and then 122. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to move the keyring. We're going to move them to the ceph directory and change the ownership to Cinder. Okay, once that is done, we're going to go to the database and create the Cinder database, and then we also grant the privileges as we have created for all the other services like Neutron, Nova, and so on and so forth. So we create the same entry in the database for Cinder as well. Now once that is done, next we're going to create the Cinder service user. Basically what we did, the same thing, just like we create Neutron user, Nova user, Glance user, we're going to do the same thing for Cinder. Okay, that has been created. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the admin role to the Cinder service user. We are not going to get any output from this one because we're just adding a role. Okay, next we're going to create the API entry for the API service entity for Cinder. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to create the service endpoint as we created for previous services. So we're going to create the public, internal, and admin URL that the Cinder service is going to use. Okay, that has been completed. So we're going to generate a UUID, and this is going to be used later for the ceph Cinder integration on compute nodes and some other things we're going to configure. So but we're going to create a UUID gen on the controller node. So we're going to copy this UUID that we just generated. We're going to keep it somewhere and we will refer to it shortly. So next what we're going to do is we're going to create a directory where we're going to add the certificates, and this is going to be done on all the controllers. Okay, so for the sake of, in case we made any mistakes, we can reconfigure the cinder.conf file. So what we're going to do next is configure the cinder.conf file on all the controller nodes. So now there are some things we're going to comment out, like for example in here we're not using LIO ADM, so we're going to comment that out. We're going to comment that out on all the controller nodes, and also we're going to comment out the verbose is true. And also we are going to comment out the log path, and the backend we're going to be using ceph as the backend and not LVM. We're going to help log path. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add some configuration here on each of the, so we're going to add my IP and some other stuff, which is this here, and the transport URL, which is going to be for the okay. So here we're going to change the IP address 121, and also here my bad, 122. Save that. So next we're going to add a lot of doc configuration, which I will explain shortly. So the first thing here is which one have I not explained here? Let me go to this one here. So the log directory, and so as we mentioned earlier on, we're going to be using ceph as the storage backend for the virtual disk or for the instances. Allow direct URL schemes. That's so basically allow the communication between Cinder and Glance, and image upload. This here allows you to upload images to the instances and Glance API servers allows you to communicate between Cinder and Glance, which allows the attachment of the image when you are installing the operating system. This Glance API servers is the one that provisions that service and verifies Glance signatures, and then we have the Glance certificates with basically to allow the communication to be encrypted. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to add the database connection. So first, we're going to comment out this because we're not using the SQLite. Do that for the rest of the servers of the controllers, basically. Next, we're going to add the keystone authentication auth token, which allows authentication between the services. And also we're going to add the lock path. The lock path is meant to be under the Oslo concurrency and not under the default section. Next, we're going to add the ceph section. Okay, so looks like the UUID gen, we're going to generate that from the compute nodes. We're going to generate that from the compute nodes. Where is that? There's a portion here where it talks about UUID gen. Okay, so the UUID gen we generated earlier on, we will use that from the compute node, not from the controller node. So I think we're done here. But before we complete this, so there are two IDs that we need to generate. So which is the Openstack projects list and Openstack user list. Okay, and user. So we're going to use the service admin. Let me use Notepad. And so here we have the Cinder user. That's what we're going to use. Or let me just copy this so that I will not mix them up. That is for Cinder. And we're going to use the service ID for the project. Alright, so we're going to go into the projects. So the project here, so under the project, we're going to remove this here. And then we're going to copy the Cinder user. Oops. bad, I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to go to the me expand this so I will be able to see. Okay, now we're done with configuring that. We're still going to come back to this cinder.conf file in subsequent videos. So we have configured that. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add the libverts. Okay. So we're also still going to add the UUID gen that we're going to create in the compute node. Okay. So we're under 2929. Next, we're going to use KVM as a vert type. Two nine six six. So next, we're going to add the certificate file under Cinder. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add the region, and that's going to be 1448. Okay, let's see. OS. Let's go. Okay. Oh, this is supposed to be under the. Okay. I see. So what we're supposed to configure is the OS region name here. So the next thing, we're going to configure the glance.api file, and we're going to add this Cinder OS region name. That should be all for that. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to populate the Cinder file, and that is only going to be done on the controller node. Okay, all good. We can see that the table has been populated. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to restart the services, the Nova, Glance, and Cinder services. Okay, that is done. Next, we're going to configure the web interface for Cinder. So we're going to back up this first, because we're going to delete the contents in there. So what we're going to do is we're now going to add this content here, because we have some custom configuration that we added to the file, like the certificates and so on and so forth. So we copy that, we paste it. That is done. So next we're going to add the keyring location to the keyring file. So what we're going to do is add this information here, save, and then we add to the other one. Next, we're going to change the ownership of all this /etc Cinder and also the private where we kept the keys. So finally we're going to restart all the services, including Apache and the rest of the services. Okay, as you can see, we have every service up and running for Cinder, for the Cinder volume. I mentioned earlier that we will generate the UUID in the next video, but I feel I should just do that right here, so that, and then we keep this UUID. Oh, sorry. Okay, we're gonna get that UUID, and then we delete this one so we won't get confused. So, and then we will use this UUID across all the so what we're going to do is we're going to copy that UUID and add it to the, I believe here, in the nova.conf file. Okay, so we're going to look for the libverts, and so this is where the UUID secret is. So this is where we're going to paste the UUID gen, which is 2939, and we go in here, we copy the UUID, go to the next one, so that we will not confuse ourselves in the next video. So it's best to complete this now. And also we're also going to add that UUID to the Cinder. Okay, where is that? So it will be under ceph storage. Okay, so we're going to put that in here. Cinder.conf. We're going to be on 68, and then save that. We do that on the okay. Okay, and that is that. And we save the files. And what we're going to do next is we're going to restart all the services again once again, just to make sure that everything is working good and dandy, because we just made changes to the configuration file. Okay, as you can see, we're good to go. Next, we're going to set the extension specification and key volume and the volume backend name. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this command on the first controller node. Okay, as we can see, we have created the volume backend, which is ceph. There we go. And if we go to the dashboard, we will see that the volume has also been created, which is ceph volume types rather. So when so when we're creating our instances, we will use this volume type. We can use the default type, but for the purpose of this video, we're using ceph. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and this comes to the end of this section. Please subscribe. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, your comments, your likes, and what else you would like to see. Any issues you're having in your environment, you can always add to the comment section. And thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.